Hey, what's good, fam? It's Tuesdays with Tawana. What's going on? I have background, and I don't mind. I don't mind, because we are out of town, and I'm with my Eli and my Diva. So, yeah, what's good, beloveds? Welcome to Tuesdays with Tawana. I am your host and your curator, Dr. Tad, where we experience community and building community one episode, one womanist episode, one podcast at a time. So I had to steal away from the day's events because I didn't have to, I chose to be with community for this half an hour, um, to center myself, to ground myself in community, with all that is going on in the world. And yeah, just wanted to be with you. So if you are here for the first time, welcome. This is a very informal platform. So we engage through the chat. So put hello or your thoughts or questions in the chat, and I will insert your voice into this narrative. If you have been here and riding with me for a long time, welcome back, and thank you so much for all of your support and engagement, because community is not about me just talking about what I think, what I believe, what I hold. It is about engaging with others so that we can build together through our similarities and even our differences. Difference is not always bad. Difference is when I am um, oppressing or dishonoring or dehumanizing or creating a space of marginalizing others. So this is a space where we share and we're open and we're honest and we're just, chopping it up together. So um, yeah, so let's get it popping. Let's get started. First, I want to give a huge loving shout out to the Reverend Carolyn Habersham, who is celebrating her birthday on today. So happy birthday, Mother Carolyn. Um, Love you, and words cannot express how grateful I am for you. And I hope that this day is just as beautiful as you are. Um, I am truly grateful to have Mother Carolyn in my life. It is so appropriate that um, I am here at Turner Theological Seminary's Founders Day celebration. This is their 10th annual Founders Day celebration. I remember being in conversations about starting this Founders Day celebration when I was in seminary as a student. Mother Carolyn took me under her wing immediately and has continued to be a mother to me from day one. And I am forever grateful, forever grateful. So I come representing class of 2010, graduated from Turner Theological Seminary, and my life changed. I found my voice. I learned to love myself. I fell in love with myself. I fell in love with community and activism and learning about God in a way that is not um, whitewashed or filled with white supremacy. Was it perfect? No. And in the imperfection, there were opportunities to learn. Um, I often tell beloveds that I don't live with regrets, because in every decision that I made, every choice that I made, every action that I took, good, bad, right, wrong, or indifferent, righteous, unrighteous, good for me, not good for me. There is always a lesson to learn. There is always an opportunity to grow. There is always an opportunity to expand and expound your belief in yourself through those errors, if you will. So I don't live with regrets, and I so Turner Theological Seminary has taught me to love myself with unconditional positive regard. I learned that from my dear professor, Dr. Godman, and loving yourself with unconditional positive regard is just that. Um, Looking at yourself unconditionally in a positive light, and being accountable for when stuff happens and when things aren't so great, having grace on yourself and toward yourself. Hey, Jan, so good to see you, beautiful. I'm glad you are here. So I am here celebrating, and I will be honored tonight. I will be installed into Turner Theological Seminary's Hall of Fame. It is truly an honor and a privilege, and it's like coming full circle because when I first came to seminary, I thought, oh, I'm going to learn all about God and all about the Bible. And I ended up learning so much about myself and the God in me, and about God of the universe and God of community and in community. So I am so grateful for that. Hey, Pammy. Hey, Dr. Falami. Good to see y'all. Dr. Falami will be joining me tonight. My family from Atlanta will be joining me tonight. And as I mentioned earlier, my daughter and my grandson, Eli, my youngest, is here. So we're going to have a good time tonight, just celebrating life and just being honored into the Hall of Fame is truly a culminating moment. Thank you, Pammy. Because of all of the things that I've learned, I truly believe that I would not be here if it were not for the foundation that Turner Theological Seminary has has taught me, has created divine space for me to experience, and supported me during a very rough time in my life when I was married to an abuser. And they loved me unconditionally. So the tenets that I stand on started at Turner Theological Seminary, and I am so grateful. Now I will be among the hallowed walls of Turner Theological Seminary as one of the Hall of Fame members, and I do hope that I will continue to do the righteous work of building community, focusing on my womanist tenets, focusing on being a Black woman and being unapologetic. Shout out to Dr. Camilla Sharp, who lectured today, who is a part of the Gathering Place. If you don't know about the Gathering Place, a womanist gathering, Dr. Camilla Sharp and Dr. Irie Lynn Sessions has the gathering on Saturdays, and of course, Pink Robe Chronicles with Dr. Melva Sampson. And those are places and spaces where I do what I do for community. I do what I do because it heals me and it heals others. I do what I do because I advocate for myself as I advocate for others. I was just talking to my daughter the other day, relationships and things that we do, beautiful things that we do for others is reciprocal. And it's not that we do these things in order for, the praises go up and the blessings come down. We do it in mutuality. We do it so that if I'm thriving, I need you to thrive. I cannot thrive if you are not thriving. So I just wanted to give a few shout outs on today. Before we get started with the pleasure of ignorance, which was inspired by my brother Corey. My brother Corey is a brilliant young man, family man, hardworking man, and I'm not saying that in white supremacy text. just honoring him as a human being and him walking into a part of who he is and parts of who he is. And when we have conversations, they are deep, they are funny. He's always checking in on me. So shout out to Corey for inspiring this message on today. So let's get started. You know, the pleasure of ignorance. It's definitely kind of that fake left, go right, where I am, putting out this clickbait and then, so people can wonder, wow, there's pleasure in ignorance. I am being sarcastic because there is absolutely, people have pleasure in ignorance and it's not good. So let's talk about an example. I just left a part of the event at the celebration, so I didn't get a chance to pull up the exact comment. So I'm gonna try to pull it up while we are together. But Tyreese, the R&B singer slash actor, posted something the other day about uh, and I'm paraphrasing about how he is not proud to be black. Um, uh, he talked about other groups. Um, he talked about other groups like the Jewish population that sticks together and they build communities and they recycle dollars and I know, Pammy, ugh. So he talked about the Latinx community and how they stick together. And he's naming all these people, and he's like, well, oh, okay. Thank you, Pammy. He said he wishes he was Hispanic because they stick together. Thank you so much. I'm not even going to look it up and give him that much energy. And that is ignorance. That is the pleasure of ignorance. When you are living in a comparative mode, wishing that you were someone else, as if you think that that group of beloveds did not go through a struggle to get where they are to stick together today, which is different from our struggle. So we're not talking about oppression Olympics, who was oppressed more, who was dehumanized more, who was marginalized more. We are talking about different experiences that brought us to different places. And unfortunately, Tyreese, when we were stolen from our land, we were separated from our families. We were murdered. We were forced to raise our colonizers' children. We were forced to work in heinous conditions. We were dehumanized. We were separated. Our language was taken away. Our language, we were taken from different tribes. So tribes different tribes were put together, but they spoke different languages. So they had to find different ways to communicate. And then, of course, that caused the schism and the separation in the Black diaspora. Now, when you think about those that came over to the United States, there may have been a plan. I can't speak for them. Maybe, on their show, they'll talk about how I know who my grandparents were and my great grandparents, and I know where they came from, and they were immigrants, and we were not immigrants. We were enslaved, chattel slavery, which then divided us and caused trauma, layers of trauma, post-traumatic slave trauma that we are still trying to heal from. And this brother with a platform, Tyreese, has the nerve to say, I wish I was someone or something else because they stick together. Hey, Larry, good to see you. Oh, bad connection in the gym. Sorry, but thank you for popping on. I appreciate it. Pammy said, additionally, the brother suffers from mental illness for which he does not take medication. I can't even digest him anymore. And Pammy, you and I just love you because we're going to talk about mental challenges, mental health challenges. We are going to get there. That was on my radar. So not only do I believe, and I don't know, I didn't talk to Tyreese. I didn't pick up the phone and call him. I don't know where this is coming from, but from his words that he put out there via interviews and social media, there is a place of hurt and shame where this is coming from. So the top rung of the fullness of life is pleasure. The bottom rung is shame. So if we don't deal with the shame, which is why I talk about being a domestic violence survivor, I talk about being breastless, I talk about having breast cancer, I talk about growing up in Wagner projects in Harlem, I talk about being a mom at 16, because it then reduces or dispels the shame and moves me closer to a place of pleasure, not in a hierarchy, but living out my higher self, my true self, the God in me, my divine self, my healing self, my beautiful self. Shame will then keep me hidden and couched into other people's fantasies where I am crunched and eaten alive and cannot fully experience the fullness of what life has to offer for me and my community. So, Tyreese, for you to say and to degrade and to demean people in the Black diaspora, you are feeding into whiteness. You are feeding into degrading and dehumanizing your Black beloveds instead of saying, with a level of curiosity, because I often talk about Paolo Freire talking about this epistemological curiosity. How do you know? So, Tyreese, my question to you is, how do you know? Where are you getting your information from? Did you read a book about the history of the African diaspora and how we were separated, how we were forced to mistrust each other, how we were forced to be in other situations and circumstances that we were unfamiliar with, and then had to fall into the nomenclature of those places? Did you do your history to find out how hard we have fought from the Reconstruction, from fighting Jim Crow, from movements, from Black Lives Matter, from the movement of Black Lives, from fighting mass incarceration? Have you looked into those things where we are doing our very best to fight systemic ills that still to this day are trying to defeat us? How are we going to come together so we can stick together, so we can recycle dollars in our communities, so that we don't look to others for our own liberation? Instead, you sit in the pleasure of ignorance and say, I wish I was something else, as if something else is better and does not deal with the systemic ills of a white society. How dare you disrespect and dishonor Black beloveds? We get enough of that in our system of politics. We get enough of that in organized religion that does not have the intention of helping beloveds, but doing behaving in this way of self-aggrandizement where they're only thinking about power over instead of power with. You are falling into the trope of Black people being less than, Black people not being smart enough, Black people being lazy, Black people shouldn't be trusted. When I see a Black person, who are they going to rob? I'm not serving this person. I can't even do my job and deliver a package without you thinking that I am about to rob somebody. You are falling into this negative trope, and it's a shame that you are using your platform platform to do that. That is a private conversation that you could have had with someone who loves you or your beloved, or reach out to a mentor. As a matter of fact, do you have a mentor? Do you have someone in your life? Have you picked up a book recently to talk about the ills, the systemic ills of Black America and the things that are going against Black America? Have you been paying attention to what is going on in the Supreme Court? Have you been paying attention to everything that they have taken back since President Obama, was leading, that they have done everything they could to take back, to snatch away, to dismantle what he tried to build, and in some cases did build, and trying to bring us together? Have you been paying attention to that? How are you using your platform to sit in the pleasure of discomfort, of pleasure of ignorance, and spewing that ignorance? Because how are other people going to take that? How are our young people going to sit in that and be proud of who they are and fight against the systemic ills with you saying ignorant shit like that? The pleasure of ignorance is not pleasurable for the Black diaspora. It is your comfort. It is you're placating to the system and now trying to project that on everybody else instead of doing the inner work and getting the help that you need, because you do need help. You have been struggling. You have been harmed. And I look to you and I send you love and light, because I don't want to see any of my Black beloveds hurt or harmed in any way, shape, or form. But you choose to sit in the pleasure of ignorance instead of asking yourself the hard question: how are we, or why are we not as together as we need to be, without comparing ourselves to other groups, because their situation is different. You don't know their situation. Have you done historic work on our indigenous First Nation Native Americans? Have you done work on in the West, where it was totally a part of Mexico, and now the United States came in and stole the land, similar to what's happening to our Palestinian siblings, where they had vast land, and since the 1940s, or, I'm not a historian, I'm sorry, but the land that they own has shrunk. So now they're trying to move them, but move them to where? So you rather destroy their infrastructure, so you are a part of the problem instead of being part of the solution. And you have the right to freedom of speech. Don't get me wrong. I'm not telling you that you can't say what's on your heart or your mind, but I'm hoping, it is my hope, that you have an openness for someone to respond to you and say, let's think about that. Let's tear this apart a bit. Let's peel the onion back to really get to the root cause of why you are so unhappy with yourself and that you wish that you were somebody else. You are God ordained. You are ordained for such a time as this. Don't fall into the trope of the Clarence Thomases of the world, or the Tim Scotts of the world, or any other Black beloved who seems to think that it is okay to co-sign with someone that doesn't care about us, that wants a dictatorship, that wants to kill us, that wants to dehumanize us, that wants to build borders for people who are human beings seeking a better life, which is what this disunited states was supposed to be built upon. And you are falling into this white supremacist trope. Don't fall for it, beloved. Do some inner work. Do some meditation. Do some reading. Do some praying. Surround yourself with people that are going to uplift you and pour positive energy and positive light into you, and not fall and co-sign for the pleasure of ignorance. This is straight up ignorance, that you think that other groups don't have challenges. We are on the outside looking in. Yes, there is power and control, but do I really want to be a part of groups that have power over instead of power with? Do I really want to be a part of groups where I pay more taxes than billionaires? Do I really want to be a part of groups that send money for wars, but as Tupac said, can't feed the poor? Do I really want to be a part of groups that are not, that actually, in many instances are dehumanizing and demeaning to us? I grew up in Spanish Harlem. I've seen the good and the bad from my Latinx beloveds, where some despised me and Black people, and others embraced their Afro Latina selves, and we came together. So, Tyreese, for the sake of not sitting in the pleasure and comfort of ignorance, please get help, get support, because the things that you said are not helpful, not only for me as a Black woman fighting for her life every day in community, and I wouldn't be here if it were not for community, but you, it's not good for you, because if you really want us to be together, think about Ubuntu. I am because you are. So where are you standing right now when you're hoping and wishing to be someone else? Oh, Dr. Irie, yes. Same. She said, I'm sick of Tyree. Sick, 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 sick. Dude, get help. Get some help. Get some support. Get some womanists in your life. We lift as we climb. We speak truth to power. We stick together. I don't know what community you've experienced, but I've experienced a lot of community. And the community is only going to get stronger. As long as the enemy continues to rise up, we are going to rise up even higher and not even give attention, energy to that which is trying to kill me. Because the late Lucille Clifton says, won't you celebrate with me for every day, something has tried to kill me and has failed. And Tyreese, I don't want you to be a part of those who are trying to kill me every day. I don't want you to die to the system. I want you to live and to use your platform to lift us up and not tear us down with the pleasure of ignorance. Beloveds, this is Dr. Tad with your daily-ish freebie. I love you dearly. You know, don't fall for it. I know things are rough in the Black diaspora, and we continue to fight. We continue to be co-creators. We continue to do this work. We continue to push back. We continue to call people out. The days of us, people were mad. Last week we talked a little bit about Cat Williams, and we were mad at him, calling out, Black. Well, he's Black, and he's calling out Black people that caused him harm. Whether I agree or disagree is irrelevant. But in that moment, he was speaking his truth. What I would have done might have been different, but long gone are the days where we're not calling people in to say, hey, we got to do things a little differently, beloved. We need to respond differently. We need to come together. We need to, there's power in numbers. There is power in hearing Black women and honoring Black women and lifting up Black women. There is power in community where there is healing, where there is breaking strongholds and the desire to be something that we're not, the desire to be someone else because we think the grass is greener on the other side. Therapy is real. The quest for mental illness and the struggle for mental wellness is real. Please go get some help and have some people pour into you that is going to speak to your divine Blackness. And I'm not just talking about the color of your skin. I'm talking about your essence. someone that can speak to you and through you so that you might love yourself, so that you might love others. God help us to stay away from the pleasure of ignorance. I love y'all. Dr. Ivy Lynn Sessions. I was just with Dr. Camilla Sharp. I just want to let you know I'm going to post a selfie of us in a minute. So it was such an honor. Yo, Dr. Camilla did a thing lecturing today. That's all I got to say. I love y'all. I'm going to get back to Turner Theological Seminary's 10th anniversary of celebrating our founders, and also 130 years of being a beautiful institution for Black beloved, and sharing with my classmates, my seminary mates, some of my professors. So, but I had to take some time to just come into community and bring us together and really speak to this comment that Tyreese made. And I pray that he gets the help that he needs. And comparison is of the devil. Know how strong and mighty you are for yourself. Define who you are, because if I don't define myself, I will be crunched into other people's fantasies and eaten alive, Audrey Lord. So I love y'all. This is Dr. Tad with your dailyish freebie. I'm your host and your curator every Tuesday, 2 o'clock. I just love y'all. Y'all give me life. We got this reciprocal relationship going on. So I hope that I give you as much love and light as you give me. Blessings to all. I'm out. Later.